If you went to the bank to borrow money for a business venture, which would require 10 million dollars in totality, do you think the bank would lend you the full 10 million? Would they lend you the full 10 million? There is no way, boss. That would mean if the venture failed, you'd have nothing to lose. But the bank would have everything to lose because they've lent you the full amount. Because you don't have any of your own money in the venture, if you were lent the full 10 million, you would probably be less energized to make it work when you encounter challenges and difficulties. You'd be far more willing to simply walk away. So the debt to equity ratio measures to what extent a company is funded by debt and to what extent it is funded by equity. Now, in virtually all situations, providers of capital will want an element of equity because that is the founder or the investor's skin in the game. And all the banks will do is they'll provide a proportion of the funding by way of debt. Now, the more equity one has in the business, simplistically, the less risky that business is. Whereas the more debt the person has in the company, the more risky that company is. So that is the debt to equity ratio. What's the mix of capital between debt relative to equity? Let's do an example. So in our example, we've got a company with total debt of 10,000 and total equity of 15,000. If you had to express this as the debt to equity ratio, you would say the total debt 10,000 divided by that total equity of 15,000 multiplied by 100, it gives you a debt to equity ratio of 66.66%. That means the debt in the company equates to approximately 66.66% of the equity. You can express this in another way. Let's say you've got a company with debt of 25 million and with equity of 75 million. So the total capital base is 100 million. If you had to express that by way of a debt to equity ratio, the alternative expression, you could say it is 25 is to 75. It's 25 is to 75. Your expression in this alternative expression must always add up to 100. It's expressing the debt and the equity as a percentage of the total capital base.